Okay, so hey guys, welcome back. And in this part, we're going to go ahead and start creating this this piece on the back. And someone's hoovering in the neighborhood, so hopefully you guys can hear that. They only just started as soon as I start recording, so that's a bit unlucky. Hopefully you guys can hear it. So anyway, let's go ahead, and the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is create a plane. So let's go ahead and grab primitive, and we're just going to go ahead and drag this out roughly at the right place. Okay, so I'm just going to grab the inverts, pull them down roughly at the right place, and this is what we're going to go ahead and use for our back for now. So it might look pretty complicated at first, but it's not. It's actually not that bad. So the reason why we are creating a plane first, because what we're going to do is we're going to start adding in edge loops and trying to block out these holes that we need to go ahead and cut in. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab our insert edge loop tool, and after we added in our plane, we're going to go ahead and start adding in these loops where we think we're going to need it. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is add one here on the top. Okay, because we're obviously going to need a cut here and a cut on the top there, and then we're obviously going to need one here. So I'm just going to go ahead, go around, not worrying about these curves, and start adding in these loops. Okay, so I'm adding one here for that guy. I'm going to add in one here as well for this guy. I'm going to go ahead and add one here as well for this guy. Okay, and carry on doing this until we have the whole piece or all the holes roughly blocked out. So we are sort of just planning where our edges are going to be, or the main loops. So I'm moving down to this main piece here. I know that we're going to need one here as well. Actually, we're going to need two here, because that's for the top, that's for the bottom. Okay, and again we need the side of this guy, and there's for our bottom of this. Okay, so this edge for here, it doesn't actually line up with the side of this, which is a little bit of a pain. It would be good if it did. We're not going to worry about it too much. We're just going to go ahead and add another one in here. That will go ahead and give us that edge. Okay, so I think everything, or the main pieces, are roughly blocked in. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is do these sort of screws as well. So for them, all we're really going to do is cut a square in first. So we need one for the top, need one for the bottom, need one for this side. Okay, need one there, I need one there. And this doesn't perfectly line up, but that's fine. We'll just have that as it is. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing for these guys here as well. So these are not necessary to cut them in, but we're going to go ahead and cut them in so we get this nice little hole in here. Okay, so again I'm doing the same thing, just adding in these loops. So we can go ahead and cut this in. Okay, so doing the same thing on the bottom. Okay, and this might be very confusing at first, but once we go ahead and go through with this shortly, it's not going to be that bad. Okay, so this top is for that screw, so we're going to use the same one for this. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and start deleting these inner faces that we don't need. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and start deleting and selecting these faces that we need to cut out. So I grab all them faces, delete them. I'm going to grab all them, delete them. Okay, and I'm now looking for the next lot, which is going to be this. Okay, we need to leave this guy in here, so I'm just going to delete all these guys. Now I'm going to do this hole and that hole. Okay, same thing with this, and that, and that. And then we're going to go ahead and cut in this main one. Okay, so really simple. We're just cutting these guys in very simply, so we get a sort of block and the base sort of mesh that we need. So now we can go ahead and clean this up now that we cut all this in. So we're going to go ahead and start deleting these edges that we don't actually need. So for example, for this middle guy here. Okay, so now we're going back a step that we blocked all this stuff out, and we're going to go ahead and start cleaning this up. So I'm deleting that guy. I need this for that. This is needed for this guy, so I'm going to leave that alone. These are needed for the screw holes here, so I'm going to leave that alone. This is needed for that. These are needed for that screw, so I'm going to leave that alone. Now moving up to the top, I don't need these. Okay, and then don't need these either on this side. So now I'm just going around and cleaning up this piece of mesh. Okay, do the same thing here. So I'm just going to select all of them, select all of these, and I think we're pretty much done. Okay, so now once we clean this up, now we can go ahead and we're going to drop a sort of, for it, how should I say it, we're going to go ahead and drop a detail level, and we're going to go ahead and start blocking out more detail. So the first thing that we're going to go ahead and do is fix this corner here. Okay, so we're not going to touch these edges because we're going to go ahead and put in our hole in there. So we're only going to touch this sort of corner. Okay, so let's go ahead and start doing that. So I can't touch these, so I'm just going to move up. We can probably get rid of, well, we can't really get rid of that, but we're going to go ahead and move it. Okay. So we can't touch this, so I'm going to leave that alone. I'm just going to go ahead and try to block this out. Okay, do the same thing here. And we'll most likely go ahead and clean this up again, so we don't get this sort of face in here. I'll cut that, or we'll see. I'm not going to worry about this curve for now. So again, just moving stuff around so we get the rough shape of this a little bit nicer. Again, I'm not going to worry about this corner yet. Okay, so that's roughly blocked out. Let's go ahead and smooth this. Okay, so if you notice, the reason why I'm smoothing is just to see roughly how this corner is holding in that corner. Okay, so it's pretty clear we're not there yet. Now what I'm going to worry about next is adding in the actual hole for this guy. So the way we're going to go ahead and do that is we're going to go ahead and create, hang on, let's see if you should do that next or not. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and block out these holes a little bit nicer. So actually cut in a hole. So we're going to go to polygon primitives and go ahead and create a, we'll probably go ahead and create, let me think. We'll go ahead and start with a pipe. So I'm just going to drag one out, set a height, set a thickness. Okay, and I'm just gonna come in here, pump down the radius and give it more thickness. Okay, and also while we're here, we're gonna go ahead and turn down the subdivisions to 8. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead, to remember what we did with the mesh, I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing with this. Okay, so this is the way I normally cut in holes most of the time. So now once I have that, I'm going to go ahead and cut this in, cut the rest of the faces out, so I only have the front. Okay, and basically all we got to do now is hook this up as a hole. Okay, so we made a square in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and make this look something like that. Add in another loop. Or we can go ahead and extrude it, actually it would probably look better. Like so. Okay, and now all we gotta do is make sure that this is the right size. Roughly. Okay, so we need it to be roughly that big. And now we just gotta go ahead and hook these edges up. But first I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate this. So I have the same size screws, same size holes all the way around. Go ahead and turn this on so I can see things a little bit easier. Okay. Make sure I position this in the center, or roughly in the center of the hole that we cut in. And now we just gotta go ahead and start hooking this up. So let's just make sure that this is at the right place first of all. And it should be actually. No, it isn't. So I'm gonna go ahead and snap. Which guy was it? I think. Okay. So I'm just selecting this. Making sure that it sits at the right place. Okay, so it needs to be in here. And now we're going to go ahead and start hooking this guy up. And actually what I'm going to go ahead and do is first we're going to go ahead and cut a couple of things in. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and move this. Do a center. And we can actually go ahead and do the same thing with this. So move this there. We're going to need a cut here and a cut there. Okay, and that way we can hook up our mesh pretty easily. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and make this actually a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to center pivot this again. Okay, just so this will line up. And again, I'm going to go ahead and delete this guy and move it over. And let's go ahead and hook this up now. So use our merge vertex tool. And first we gotta combine them. Forgotten about that. Mesh, combine, edit, delete all by type, history. And now we can just go ahead and merge the words together. Okay, cool. So we can go ahead and smooth it, and as you can see, we'll get a nice hole there. Okay, we'll worry about all this other stuff later on. So let's go ahead and do the same thing on this side. And actually, I'm not gonna waste your time recording this. You already know how to cut these in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go ahead and skip through this. But so all you gotta make sure that there is a cut here. So basically, you need a cut that you can merge the top and the two corners to, and the two sides. Okay, so for example here, I'll need one here, I'll need one here, and that's my top, that's my bottom, the two corners. Okay, and same for this. So I'll just quickly show you guys. I'll need one here, I'll need one there, there's my top, bottom, the two corners, so I can merge that. And then I got my top, bottom, I'll need one for the side here, and I'll need one for the other side here. Then you just go ahead and duplicate this guy over, merge your verts. Okay, you might have to move some verts around so it will fit in there, and that's about it. So I'll go ahead and skip through this, so you guys don't have to watch me do it. And let's go ahead and crack on with our next challenge. So what we're going to do next is that we cut these holes in. I mean, the same thing applies for this guy as well. Okay, so here as well, you'll just need one in the center here, one there, one there, one there, one there. Okay, so you guys can go ahead and cut your holes in here as well. It's the exact same process. You'll just go ahead and scale this guy up, so it will be a bigger hole for our rubber grommet. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and start trying to add in some loops, so this will smooth nicer. So let's go ahead and first of all add one here. Add one here, add one on the top here. Okay, so this is freaking out a lot. Let's go ahead and add a loop here, and that should help this hold this shape nicer. Okay, and if I remember correctly, these are all beveled. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do is add a loop lower down. Same here. I'll just make sure that these are the right height. And then we're going to go ahead and add one more halfway. Okay. And now we can go ahead and move these verts. So I'm just going to grab them. I think it's 3. Yeah. Just grab them 3, scale it in. Don't worry about the top. And grab these 2 and them 2. Whoops. And scale these in. And that will give us a nice curve going. And if you want, we can go ahead just and snap these so it's nice and clean. Then we'll go ahead and add a loop here so it will hold its shape. Add one here as well. Now if we smooth that, as you can tell, this will smooth very nicely. So let's go ahead and do the same thing for the top part of this. And this should smooth. I mean, this is not a massive sort of corner really, but we can go ahead and make it nice anyway. Let's just go ahead and move these guys a bit more further out. Okay. Let's go ahead and add a loop. I mean, we can actually just go ahead and extrude this, it would be easier. So if I select that loop, let's deselect that. Let's go ahead and extrude this a tad. So let's just do that with the offset. So I'm just checking I'm extruding it the right way. Okay. So that will help us make this a little bit nicer. So we already get a nice curve going here. I can go ahead and move this a little bit around to make it a little bit more curved, but I think for the sake of this, it should be fine. We're just going to go ahead and move these up. Okay, so now I'm just checking that these two smooth the way they need to. So I'm going to go ahead and add in a loop here. Okay, and that looks fine. So now we're going to go ahead and move our way down to this corner. Okay, so again, we could go ahead and make this a nicer curve by adding in one more loop. But to be honest, I'm not really going to vary about it too much. I think that's a nice enough curve, so I'm just going to leave that as it is. Let's go ahead and do this guy as well. So I'm going to go ahead, add in a loop here. Oops, a little bit higher up. So I'm just checking on the other side. So these guys will smooth out pretty much the same way. Okay, so that looks all good. Let's go ahead and move down to the bottom. Same thing, add one here, add one here, and that should improve it quite a bit. If you want, we can go ahead and add one in the center here as well, just to make sure that this will smooth nicer. Okay, let's go ahead and sort out the bottom. So we could push these words in a bit more so it's closer to our reference, but I'm not really gonna, again, not gonna vary about it too much for now. So again, I'm just adding in these loops here so it will smooth. And also gonna go ahead and add one in here on the bottom. Okay, so if you have a look now, that looks quite nice. Okay, I really don't like that we pushed this up actually. So let's go ahead and move this guy down. So, okay, something like that, where it was. I think it was too tall, that's why I didn't like it. So let's go ahead and smooth this. Okay, so it looks pretty good. It doesn't look too bad. So them corners are quite nice. The top bit looks quite nice here. So let's go ahead and move on. So here we're just going to go ahead and do the same thing. It's basically just an extrude, so we could go ahead and extrude that. We're sort of doing it manually with this instead. Okay, so here you'll have your cuts. So I'm not going to touch that. And again, I'm just working my way down here. I'm going to need a loop here. I'm going to need a loop there. And there. And there. Okay, so I'm adding this up higher. So actually, I'm going to go ahead and move this guy. This edge here. Keep calling the edges guys. Don't really know why. Okay. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and smooth it. See how it's holding its shape. Okay, so that's pretty good. Again, you could go ahead and do the same thing. So we can go ahead, grab these, push them in a little bit to give us a nicer corner. But I'm not going to worry about that for now. I'm just checking if our main shape is roughly right. Okay, whereas here, I am going to go ahead and sort this out because this is rounded a lot. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab this, push this in here, see what happens. Okay, it's still not gonna because of these those edges there. So I'm going to add one here, add one there. And this is kind of a cheat, but we can get away with it, I think. Okay, Okay, so that will be fine. Again, this is kind of a cheat, but it will be fine. We can get away with it, okay? Okay, so that looks good enough. We can go ahead and add in loop here, and here, and there, just so when we go ahead and add in our hole, it will hold a little bit nicer. But it should hold nice already when we go ahead and add the things in. But for the sake of this, we'll go ahead and add that in. Again, we're going to need a guy here. And just isolate. Oh, actually, don't even need to isolate. So now I'm just going to add a guy in here, there. So I'm going to smooth that. And we'll have a nice little corner. Okay, so here we're actually going to have to go ahead and delete these. Then I'm going to delete this edge. I can't do that on the top. Okay, so leave that in. Delete this one. Move this over. Add an edge here, so when we smooth it, it will smooth around here. Okay, we've done it on the other side. Do it here as well. And there, and there. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and add in multiple edge loops here, just so this will smooth properly. Probably 3 here, 2 here. Okay, so now I'm just cleaning it up to make sure that it will smooth properly. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So once you add in these holes in here as well, you should have a pretty nice result going on. Okay, so imagine that you have a nice hole like that in there, in there, in there, in there, in there, and I think this looks really nice. Okay, so I'll wrap up this part here, where again, this was a pretty long part. So make sure you go ahead and do these cuts across here, and then in the next part, we'll go ahead and finish this piece. Okay, so I'll see you guys in the next part.